Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Amanda, Ridout Health Coach, and here we are again with my very good friend Ben Fuchs, pharmacist, cosmetic chemist, and nutritionist. And if you've been following us, you know that we have been talking about vitamins and nutrition for skin health. And last interview we talked about E's and D. And Ben, why don't you share what comes next on that B team?
B team.
B
Right.
team, yeah.
Right. So we talked about A and C as the A team, right?
Uh-huh.
And then alpha hydroxy acids also. And then we talked about the B team. We said we talked last time about A and D. I'm sorry, about D and E. Mm-hmm. D, we said, is involved in how cells divide and grow. So if you have a skincare issue that's caused by cell division and cell growth, cells aren't dividing correctly, they're not growing correctly. Psoriasis, for example, and eczema. Also because cells dump their moisturizing contents overboard as they're growing. Dry skin sometimes is involved with how cells divide and grow. And vitamin D is a cell division supporter. It regulates cell division and cell growth. So for eczema, for psoriasis, for dry skin, vitamin D can be very helpful. And we also talked about vitamin E for moisturizing and then for protection from the environment, protection from cigarette smoke, air pollution, protection from the sun, of course. And very helpful for the healing process, to keep inflammation down. Then there are a couple others that make the B team, most especially 3 vitamins: vitamin B3, which is also known as niacin, vitamin B5, which is also known as pantothenic acid, and vitamin K, which has some really interesting properties, not specifically for skin cells, but for the blood vessels that live underneath the sprinkles that live in the what do we call this? Sort of the candy coating.
The candy coating.
Candy coating that live in, and there's no blood vessels in the candy coating either, but there's blood vessels in the, remember, I hate saying this.
In the beef.
I know. Somebody told me that I insulted you. Did I tell you that? I didn't mean to. I hope I didn't insult you.
Oh,
I didn't mean to insult you.
You know, how, just for the record, Ben did not insult me.
Okay, good.
For the record.
It's because beef it sounds gross, but that's really what it is. It's beef, and we
meat.
Want beef. It's meat, and we want more meat. And that's what anti-aging is really about. It's having more beef, having more solidity. So, okay. So anyway, vitamin K is involved in the circulation process, in blood vessels, in the health of blood vessels, and that has a role to play in bruising and in healing from bruising. So let's talk about vitamin K first. And then there's a 4th class of elements or of active ingredients that make the B team that I think we should talk about next week, and those are the peptides. And everybody's heard about peptides, probably. You've heard about peptides in skincare. And peptides, there's a lot of mystery associated with peptides. They're the latest and greatest in the world of skincare. And there's some interesting things about peptides, but they're definitely the B team, and maybe even the C team. But we'll talk about those next week. Today we'll talk about vitamin K, vitamin B5, pantothenic acid, and vitamin B3, niacin. Okay. So let's take vitamin K first.
Sure.
Vitamin K is known as the clotting vitamin. It also is involved in calcium metabolism, and it turns out that calcium has a really interesting role to play in supporting the growth of things, the movement of things, the dynamic nature of cells. So vitamin K has got 2 interesting roles to play. And I guess I said that it's mostly a circulatory vitamin, but it also has a role to play in cell division and cell growth via this calcium connection. Vitamin K encourages or improves or enhances a cell's ability to use calcium, thereby improving the health of cells. So it can have a nice role to play in skin cell health by being applied topically, but its claim to fame, it really shines when it comes to healing bruising. And that means using vitamin K topically pre-surgery, using vitamin K topically post-surgery, and that's plastic surgery, blepharoplasty, nose jobs, rhinoplasties, surgical cuts that are made anywhere in the body, really. Vitamin K can speed up the healing process by reducing bruising. And this is very helpful if you use a vitamin K cream a week or 2 pre-surgery or a week or 2 post-surgery and a week or 2 post-surgery. You can really enhance the healing process. You can improve the healing process.
I've never heard this.
Very few people have, but it's very dramatic, actually. So if you're going in for surgery, you get yourself some vitamin K cream or make your own vitamin K cream. You want to have a nice healthy dose of vitamin K in your cream, so it's kind of helpful to make your own because most vitamin K containing products will just give you a little smattering of vitamin K. And as we talked about earlier, this is kind of an insidious strategy in the skincare business where skincare companies will promote or advertise or highlight a specific ingredient, but they'll forget to mention that there's only a 0.5% or 1% or very tiny amounts. In the case of vitamin K, what I found is that you need 5 to 10% of your product to be vitamin K, and it's very difficult to find that kind of concentration of vitamin K for a couple of reasons. Number one, nobody knows, so skincare companies will get away with it. They'll just put a little bit in there. But number two, vitamin K is very unstable, so it reacts and it'll break down. A lot of products will break down in the presence of vitamin K, and the vitamin K will break down in the presence of water and other ingredients in the product. And then thirdly, vitamin K is expensive, and skincare companies are always looking to cut costs. So if you want to find a vitamin K cream to use pre-surgery or post-surgery, look for 5 to 10% vitamin K, or make your own vitamin K containing product. Look for an oil-soluble form of vitamin K so you get some penetration. And to tell you the truth, even though vitamin K is an oil-soluble vitamin, I'm trying to think if I haven't really seen too many oil-soluble versions of vitamin K, but if you can find it, look for an oil-soluble vitamin K. Okay. If you can't, look for have a pharmacist make you a 5 to 10% cream. Now you're going to have it compounded because most over-the-counter or most health and beauty HBA type products that you get in department stores or salons aren't going to have that kind of concentration. Now vitamin K also can be helpful for the kind of bruising that occurs under the eyes, not bruising, but purpling that occurs under the eyes. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Some of that is related to the fact that blood is kind of leaking out of blood vessels, and vitamin K, being a clotting vitamin, may help thicken the blood a little bit so that the blood doesn't leak out from under the eyes. So if you really want to use a topical ingredient for helping the purpling color under the eyes, vitamin K would be your best choice, although it probably isn't perfect, as we said in that video that we did. You want to focus on circulation for that. Right. So 3 places that you might want to consider using vitamin K. Number 1, for bruising, if you take a fall. Number 2, post-surgery and pre-surgery. Number 3, under your eyes. And then sometimes people, and I don't know how well this works, but I'll just throw that out there, sometimes people will use it for rosacea, which is also a circulatory type of issue, although in my experience rosacea is more of an immune condition that's a response to foods. Okay. Which is another, we can actually talk about that on another video. Rosacea and certain food allergies, and we'll do a nutrition video here, nutrition in the skin. The second interesting ingredient, or B-team ingredient, is vitamin B5. Vitamin B5, pantothenic acid, is a fat metabolizing vitamin. It's a water-soluble vitamin, but it's involved in how the body processes fats and how the body makes fats. And this is really interesting because internally vitamin K can be used to help acne. It can be used to help dry up skin oils, to help people who are real oily kind of dry up some of that sebum secretion. It can also be very helpful for the production of steroid hormones. So for women who are going through menopause, or people who are producing lots of cortisol, who are running into adrenal fatigue issues, vitamin B5 can be very helpful there. That's taken orally. But you do need to take a lot. In fact, I formulated a product specifically for acne skin that featured vitamin B5, and I used about 2,000 milligrams of vitamin B5 in this product, and it had a lot of other things in it too. I think the recommended daily dose of vitamin B5 is like 50 milligrams or 100 milligrams, something very tiny. So you really need heavy doses of B5 internally. Now topically, you can do some great things to help dry up sebum with vitamin B5 as well. So for folks who have oily skin, folks who are acne prone, you can, again, make your own vitamin B5 containing product. Just break open a vitamin B5 capsule and put it in your favorite cream. I don't know of very many vitamin B5 containing products that you can buy, so you have to make that on your own. Okay. There's a vitamin B5 derivative called panthenol. You heard of this?
Yes, I have.
Panthenol. It's in a lot of hair products. Yep. And it's a derivative of pantothenic acid, vitamin B5. So it's kind of like a form of vitamin B5, and that's been used to help moisturize hair and condition hair and make hair healthier. Now, whether it works or not is up for debate. It does penetrate into the hair a little bit, but as I was telling you before we went on, hair is dead, and there's not much you can really do to change the health of dead tissue. It's dead tissue, so there's not much you're going to be able to do. But that having been said, panthenol might be something that you want to consider using in a topical or on your skin topically, because of its effects. You'll get the pantothenic acid effects, and the panthenol does have some penetration properties. So make your own pantothenic acid cream or use panthenol. You can use a panthenol-containing shampoo as a soap, for example, or as a facial cleanser.
It has a lot of yucky stuff in it, though, doesn't it? The shampoos, aren't they full of junk?
They're so full of junk.
But on your face, then you're going to absorb all. Well, but you're still washing your hair with it.
You're washing your hair with it, right?
Yes.
Of course, it's full of junk. No, the best thing. look, skincare is crazy
Yeah,
business, let
I
me tell
know.
you.
I know.
That's why I'm always telling people, make your own stuff, or when we come out with our stuff, they'll be able to use our stuff. They'll be able to use our stuff. Okay, but we'll talk about that some other time. Okay, the third active ingredient that makes the B team list is niacin. Now this one's really interesting, and you do see niacin in a lot of skincare products. Now, there's two forms of niacin, or I should say there's two forms of vitamin B3. One is called niacin, the other is called niacinamide. Niacinamide has a reputation for being a no-flush version of niacin. Now, have you heard of the niacin flush?
Yeah.
A lot of times, if you take too much niacin, or even some people, they don't take.
It's happened to me before.
It's happened to me before as well. I don't find it all that unpleasant, but some people find it unpleasant. That's why they make niacinamide. For the skin, it doesn't really matter whether you use niacin or niacinamide. Interestingly, the deficiency disease that's caused by vitamin B3 deficiency is called pellagra, and one of the signs of pellagra is dermatitis or rashes. So deficiencies in niacin can actually cause rashes. So by implication, using niacin topically can help improve dermatitis, or may help improve dermatitis. Certainly taking it orally may help improve dermatitis as well. In fact, considering most people are nutritionally deficient, and many people anyway, could very well be nutritionally deficient in niacin. Remember we talked about subclinical nutritional deficiencies, right? So just like there's subclinical scurvy, where you don't know you have a full-blown vitamin C deficiency, but you may have osteoporosis, or you may have weak blood vessels, or God forbid, you may get a stroke, and all these could be subclinical vitamin C deficiencies. Likewise, you may have subclinical pellagra, and that is a form of vitamin B3 deficiency that's not bad enough for you to die, or not bad enough for you to have full-blown mental disorders or full-blown dermatitises, but you may just have a little rash. In medical school, they say pellagra, vitamin B3 deficiency, is marked by the 4 Ds: diarrhea, dermatitis, dementia, and death. That's right? They call it the 4 Ds of pellagra: diarrhea, dermatitis, dementia, and death. Now, if you take our subclinical model and superimpose it on the 4 Ds, what you end up with is, instead of diarrhea, dermatitis, dementia, death, you end up with a little a little digestive difficulty, a little bit of rash, a little bit of forgetfulness. These are subclinical manifestations. Follow what I'm saying? They're subclinical manifestations of diarrhea, dermatitis, and dementia. They're just a little stomach problems, a little crampy, or a little rashy, or a little forgetful. These are potential subclinical manifestations of vitamin B3 deficiency. Now, for the skin, vitamin B3, niacin, has got some really interesting benefits. Number one, it's got some benefits for acne. In fact, there's studies that show that using niacin at 2 or 3% concentrations can be as effective as using antibiotics, topical antibiotics like clindamycin or erythromycin. So you may want to experiment, if you have acne, using topical niacin. Certainly, it's going to have some anti-redness benefits. By the way, in the South, pellagra was very common in the 1900s in the South because they subsisted on foods that didn't have a lot of niacin, particularly corn. And what would happen down south is people would get these red necks as a sign of pellagra. Necks. Exactly. That's where they get. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
No
wonder.
I'd throw that little trivia in there. Anyway, so niacin topically can help with acne. Niacin topically also has anti-wrinkle properties, anti-aging properties, and niacin topically can also have some nice moisturizing effects. And niacin cream, you could find niacin products. There's a company called Nia that makes niacin products, and niacin is, you can find that much more commonly than you'll find pantothenic acid containing products and vitamin K containing products. Or you can, of course, make your own niacin. Niacin is a little bit trickier than vitamin K and B5 in that it doesn't go right into your cream that easily. So you may have to dissolve it first into a little bit of water or even a little bit of alcohol, and then add that water or add that alcohol into your cream. Now, of course, the alcohol is not great, but if you stir the alcohol niacin solution into your cream, the alcohol will eventually evaporate off.
How
so
about
you won't
witch
get,
hazel?
Witch hazel is alcohol, basically. So I mean, you could use.
I've seen non-alcohol witch hazel. No, doesn't exist.
No,
okay,
doesn't exist.
All right.
And the thing about alcohol, as unpleasant as it is, it's a preservative. So the alcohol will. It's a preservative that will evaporate. Okay. So most preservatives don't evaporate; they stay on your skin. And one of these days, we should probably do a video on preservatives because that's kind of an interesting topic too,
is.
Right? But alcohol is kind of a good preservative because it will evaporate, and so even though alcohol is not great for your skin, if you mix it up in your cream long enough, it'll evaporate out. Or if you keep the top off of your cream, it will eventually evaporate out as well, and the niacin will stay in the cream. Okay. So niacin, pantothenic acid, and vitamin K. And the cool thing about all three of those is they work as well internally, better actually internally, for your skin as they do topically. So if you really want to exploit or leverage the powers of these things, take them internally and also take them topically, or apply them topically.
Well, I know in my Beyond Tangy Tangerine, I have all these nutrients and I take those daily, but I also have those individually in different pills and capsules. I'm going to experiment with that and what I do, my A, my E's, and my
Topically?
D. Yeah, because that's what I'm doing, the A, E's, and D's, because I haven't been able to find the right kind of C. So
you haven't found the lipophilic vitamin C.
No, I haven't done C. Yeah.
I told you it's really hard to find, but if everything works well,
We'll have that soon.
Everything works well. If everything works well.
Great. Well, this was real fun, and I know there's a lot of new projects for all us do-it-yourself people out there. So we'll get to work on all this wonderful information. Until next time, we will see you soon, and take care, Ben.
Thank you.